Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to our training on relationship hierarchy. So the reason why I put this in this video is because I thought it was really important to understand where you're starting. By the time you've gotten to this video, I'm hoping that you've already watched the video about creating the timeline. Whether or not you've actually created it is another story, but hopefully you will prior to going to the workbook. But in this video, it's about understanding how we ended up in certain relationships based off of where our hierarchy of needs were at the time of getting in these relationships. So if you know anything about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's where I have derived this relationship version from. And we're just going to dive on in there and get right into the PowerPoint. And lucky for you, I did a PowerPoint this time because I don't really think I did PowerPoints for any of the others. So let's get to it. All right. Give me a second while I share my screen. Perfect. All righty. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Relationships hierarchy of needs. Applying Maslow's hierarchy of needs to your relationship life and where you are. So again, if you have ever studied psychology, general psychology, most of us have taken like a general psychology class, you have probably heard the term Maslow's hierarchy of needs and this pyramid, right? You may have seen a picture of it, probably all over the place. So what Maslow suggests is that there are 3 different sections of needs, so basic, psychological, and self-fulfillment needs. And the very bottom in basic are physiological, so food, water, warmth, rest, safety and security. And then we go to the psychological needs, which is belongingness and love needs, so relationships, friendships, esteem needs, so feelings of accomplishment, and then last but not least, and where we all, the piece de resistance and the place that we hope to all be is this idea of self-actualization, self-fulfillment, believing in your potential, and being able to achieve some sort of purpose and success. So first off, psychological needs, part of the basic needs, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep, and sex, because sex is a human need. We need to have sex, not even just to procreate, just to connect. Obviously with a romantic partner. Anyway, so our basic needs. How does this apply to a relationship? When we are focused on these particular items, when we are focused in this part of the pyramid, we are not in a place to even begin to see or receive love. This is ground zero. You are completely impenetrable to real love because you are in survival mode. You are just trying to get your needs met, and that is it. And so if you end up finding yourself in a relationship around this time, it's because you are just trying to get your needs met. And a couple things can happen. Once your needs are met, you will no longer desire the relationship, or this can leave you in a place where you feel indebted to the person who is your savior, right? So knight in shining armor comes swooping in and pays, for food for you and your kid and gives you a place to live and all these things, and just makes you feel as though like, oh my gosh, like this person saved me because I had nothing. And so you might feel completely at the mercy of this person. You'll do whatever it is for this person because they saved you, right? And so this can leave you feeling guilty. And now you owe them everything, your life. And so life sometimes is not a fairy tale, which is why when women take on this attitude surrounding relationships, when they are in this place of basic needs, this knight in shining armor can only serve one purpose. And so sometimes that comes at a very high cost to their independence and freedom. Basic needs remedy. All right, so first and foremost, so important, get your affairs in order. Make sure that you have food. Make sure that you have shelter. Make sure that you are warm and have clothing before you seek out a mate. It is imperative that you do this. Use your time to really focus on yourself and focus on taking care of you and your children or whoever's around that is in your life whenever you're in this place of survival. And start to really seek out the truth if you can of the law of attraction and begin to see how your mind is creating this desperation and this lack that you are physically experiencing. God wants to take care of you and provide you with everything that you desire. And you just have to really, really understand how true this is. I mean, he says, don't I feed the birds? Of course, I'm going to take care of you. When you start to recenter your focus on how your daily needs are always met, then you will start to see how your life is more stable. And so one thing that you can do if you're in this place of survival is just repeating to yourself, I have all of my needs met each and every single day. I am grateful to God or the universe for my daily provisions. All right, so the next level in basic needs, safety and security. So obviously financial security, having a job, feeling secure and stable in your home, etc. So when we lack in this department, we are focused more on finances and making sure our living situation is safe. And if you are in this place of safety and security where it is not this part of the pyramid is not full, then this could lend you to finding a partner who might be slightly dangerous or overly masculine, or one who has a lot of money who you're not attracted to in the slightest. And whenever you're in this place of the pyramid, you might be more concerned with filling this void of money or physical safety rather than actually finding true love and connection. And so what does that spell? That spells danger, 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 danger. You want to make sure that you are not seeking out these types of relationships, because women who need to feel safe tend to gravitate towards bad boys. And this is because if you came from a family that was abusive, or you just never had any sort of safety, maybe you lived in a really, really scary neighborhood or whatever, and so you've never felt safe, if you feel that way, then you're going to try to find a partner who can provide that safety, who can provide that physical sort of experience so that you feel physically safe. And the problem with the bad boy is that they tend to get caught up in things that are dangerous, which also facilitates their toughness. And so in reality, more often, women in these situations end up in less secure and safe situations because they are with a person who attracts danger. Another thing that is really necessary to understand is that typically if somebody is overly masculine, then they might be a little bit more demeaning, or they could even be physically abusive because they are the master. That sounded stupid, but you know, you have to listen to them because they are the protector, right? So then women who need to feel secure, who find themselves gravitating towards men who shower them with gifts and money. And they will talk themselves into being attracted to this partner, but then they'll know that they really aren't, you know, and like even try to talk themselves like, well, this is the reason, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And because there's still this void, because it's just this financial security, and it is not necessarily like, it's not true security because it's from someone else, you will continuously try to seek out these types of relationships in order to fill this void. And a lot of these women end up maybe we're in really unstable homes too, growing up, or have struggled financially for a very long time and just, you know, are just looking for a way out or looking for a break. And so they come into these relationships that are not necessarily the most attracted, you know, or the most compatible, but rather just, you know, sugar daddy, for lack of a better word. And the problem with this too is that if you are in this space, then again, there's power and control. The person has the money or holds the purse strings, unless you end up in a different sort of relationship, tends to have more power. And that's the last thing that any loving, whole relationship needs, is to have a power offset or a power struggle or dynamic that is not balanced. So the way to remedy the safety and security needs is to find a safe place to live while you get back on your feet, whether that's from, living at your family or whatever, friends. Generate some sort of form of income so that you can actually start to really focus on creating that security for yourself, and really focus on that being the only thing that you're doing. And then with the right mindset again and focus, you might only have to live in temporary housing for like a few months while you get back on your feet and you feel financially supported. And the coolest thing about this is that even though in the beginning it feels completely unmanageable and just like crazy, when you get to this place where you're prioritizing yourself and then you accomplish it, you will begin to trust yourself more. You will begin to believe that you can actually keep yourself safe and keep yourself secure. Whatever that is. And, even if you have to get a dog to feel more safe or whatever, do that. But just avoid relationships when you're in this basic needs, these two parts of the pyramid, right? These two bottom levels. All right, now we are in the physiological needs. So love and belonging, right? So friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connection, belongingness. So when these needs, when your basic and security needs, which is basic needs, have not been met or have been met, then you end up moving up the ladder to love and belonging, right? And so women who are in this space where they are seeking out connection, aching to have a family or just belong to someone as a wife or a partner, this tends to yield poor results as well. So when you're trying to feel some void from like some lack of a mother-daughter, father-daughter relationship that you had or you lost, or believing that you are just like, no one understands you, no one can support you, X, Y, and Z, like all these definitive things, then you are driven to, at any cost, fill this void of love and belonging. I mean, we're humans. We desire and strive for connection, and we want to belong. We want people to understand us. We want to feel validated, and we want to be loved. And so what happens is that this can get a little tricky because if you're focused on belonging to someone, you may overlook any red flags. You may try your best to kind of manipulate the situation so that everything is kind of minimized that would deter you away from this relationship because it's something you've longed for so long. And your agenda is more about being loved by a man and not about choosing a good fit partner for your life journey. And so obviously you could, if as a woman, you could bounce from partnership to partnership in order to get these needs met. And because you never really feel belong to anyone, or you could end up in relationships like that of the narcissist, where this person love bombs you so much that you feel like, oh my gosh, I found this person finally. And then they gaslight you to make you believe and ignore that red flags even exist. And then you finally get to a place where you want to get out, but you can't because you don't feel as though you'll ever find love or belonging. And so the remedy for this love potion number 9, is to really understand what it means to love yourself and do that. Find a community of friends and family or both to share your experiences with, to really allow yourself to belong to someone. A lot of times I feel like people don't feel like they belong because they're not willing to share. They're not willing to be vulnerable. And that's probably because it was taken advantage of at a younger age. But now that you're an adult, really trying to find and cultivate and strengthen a community, much like the Toxic Relationship Cleaner group, where you feel like you belong to a group of people who understand you. And it's here where you'll start to learn that you already have love and belonging. Turn to God, turn to your spirituality and recognize that you are loved unconditionally, and that you are never alone. And when you really can start to strengthen your spiritual side, then you might find that this is not as hard to fill. This void is not as hard to fill as you once believed it was. And so when you have a better mindset, you'll actually end up choosing a better life partner for your journey. All right, next physiological need is self-esteem. So confidence, achievement, respect of others, differentiation, being unique. And so this one, we can kind of get tripped up because I feel like, a lot of us at some point in time feel really confident about ourselves, feel really beautiful and vibrant and successful and all of these things. And we have a wonderful family and beautiful friendships. But then something happens in our psyche, maybe from relationships, maybe from social media, maybe from all these things, these different areas of our lives, where we feel like we don't believe that we're good enough to deserve a great love. And so we never find it. And this will continue to perpetuate as well in this endless cycle of self-fulfilling relationships, because you will feel as though you don't deserve any better, and therefore you will attract a partner who treats you as though you do not deserve any better. So this cycle of self-esteem or lack of self-worth really continues to perpetuate, regardless of whether or not you actually are successful or have a beautiful family and friendship and feel, and have, heck, the body or the brains or all the things that would indicate from an outsider's perspective that you should have really high self-esteem. And so when you're in a place of feeling as though you're undeserving, then you'll continue to recreate these same feelings in your partnership. So it's really important to understand, what's your story? What are you telling yourself? This is where affirmations really come into play. Like, I am strong, I am brilliant, I am kind, I am deserving, I am lovely, I'm beautiful, all those things. And you really have to start to recreate a story that is going to boost up and feed into your self-esteem. So the remedy, as the Dalai Lama would say, because he's amazing, choose to be optimistic. It feels better. Yes, easier said than done, right? But there are some ways that you can start that. So practice self-love again. So self-love is like taking a bubble bath, taking yourself out to dinner because you can, going for a walk, massaging your feet, or going to get a massage, right? Gratitude is one of my favorites. It is, this really beautiful practice where an attitude of gratitude only facilitates more gratitude. Honestly, whenever you focus on gratitude, you can't also focus simultaneously on a negative thought. So it's a really great way to help combat anxiety. So I'm a proponent of writing down 10 things you're grateful for every single day. And I know whenever you're in a place of feeling not very good about yourself, and it's really difficult to kind of understand then, like why you're in the position that you're in. And, I just hear that over and over from some of the women that I serve, where it's just like, I don't have anything to be grateful for. I'm like, you have so much to be grateful for. You're alive. Your cells are working. But when in that place, just find whatever you can. I'm grateful for ice cream. I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for the sun. It's snowing here in Colorado today, so I'm grateful for the snow. Whatever it is that you can find. Generative affirmations, kind of like what I talked about earlier. So writing down a few things that make you feel good about yourself, that you feel like you can actually buy into and believe, and read them out to yourself every single day. Do things that you love to do. So go hiking with yourself, take yourself to the movies, read a delicious book, stay positive and be happy with what you have. So really focusing on what you have versus what you don't have, because if you know anything about the law of attraction, like from the basic needs sort of perspective, if you focus on what you don't have, then you will attract more of what you don't have. So stay positive, stay happy, and focus on what you already have so that you will have more to have. Remember how far you've already come. So at this point in the video, you should have already watched the timeline video and how to construct that. And so what I want you to do is really look at that timeline again. See how far you've come from where you once were in relationships to where you are now, and honor that process and be grateful that you were able to survive all those different experiences, and that in some cases you even thrived, right? And then all these things will begin to kind of take root in your heart and your mind and allow you to really ride the high-flying disc of the self-esteem train. And then whenever you're up here, this is when we go to the fun place. Self-actualization. Yes, where the place where there is self-fulfillment, purpose, acceptance, just amazing goodness, where we all strive to be. And so I like this little picture. It's like, taste the sun, because that's what it feels like. It just feels so good. You feel so connected and close and understood, and you just feel good about yourself. You trust yourself. You love yourself. And so when you get all the other blocks in the pyramid met, this is where you really shine in the relationship department. This is the place where, not that you couldn't have tried to get a relationship in the self-esteem place, or even a little bit in love and belonging, as long as most of that block was met. But when you are in self-actualization or purpose, you are so confident that you're not going to let anybody drag you down. And if you do get dragged down, then it's probably only maybe down to self-esteem, but you're going to pop right back up to purpose and actualization, because you are living your true authentic self, and there's no room for anyone who's not living in with the same intentionality. You will not attract anything other than those types of men who are ready to inhabit that positive space that you've created for yourself, because if you are riding on the vibrancy and the frequency of the sun, then you will not perceive anything that is of the earth. You know, you're too busy high in the clouds of positivity that you are not even understanding what the earthworms are doing, right? You're not even down there. So it's really important to just like recognize that that's what you're going to start attracting. The higher you raise your vibrations, the higher you get to self-actualization, the better, more quality, the more kind, the more relationship success you will have in a partner. Now, at times you might find yourself again falling from the pyramid due to life circumstances that are unhelped. So you lose your job maybe, or maybe someone gets sick or you get sick. But typically, if you're in self-actualization or purpose, you're going to bounce back up. Now, if you're some of the lower ones, it might be a little bit harder. So say you were at love and belonging and then you lost everything, right? There was a natural disaster or something like that. God forbid, right, for all of us. But if something like that did happen, it might be a lot harder because you're starting from basic needs again, and you've never experienced having, or it's been a long time since you've experienced having self-esteem or self-actualization. So if you get to a place where you can really vibe high, you know what it's like to be there, and so it's a lot easier to achieve it again without having to really go back down to any of the previous building blocks. Alrighty, you guys. Now go to the workbook. Explore your pyramid placement more in depth. This workbook will really help you work through some of the steps of the pyramid and get you in the right mindset so that you can kind of understand which blocks you're missing and how you can fill them up. And it'll help you uncover your purpose and authentic self. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the training. I look forward, obviously. Let's see, how do I, here we go, hang on, it's coming. Okay, well, oh, there we are. That was really difficult. Okay, perfect. So, cancel. All right, well, I'm just gonna stop this because it's still sharing and I can't get it to turn around for whatever reason. So, oh, here we go. Ah, there I am. Perfect. Sorry about that. So yes, so take your time in this workbook. Be kind to yourself. It's supposed to unearth some stuff, give your space to cry, invent and process, and yeah, and just be honest. And it'll allow you to really unearth some of the authentic parts of you that maybe you haven't seen in a while. So I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.